So the Apple Watch Series 3 is a couple of years old, yet it's still a viable option for many, especially for the price compared to its successors, the Series 4 and 5, and perhaps the Series 6 this year. And although they have brought many enticing features, I truly believe that the Series 3 is still a great option in 2020, especially for its value. Now you can pick one up brand new roughly for about $200 to $220 for the GPS 42mm model, and that's directly from Apple, but you can also usually find deals through other vendors like Best Buy for even cheaper. Now if you want to go for one that's either used or refurbished, you can get them for fairly cheap. Just make sure that the watch isn't locked. Now the Series 3 does support watchOS 6, and it seems Apple's going to continue to support it with future updates, which is also something to consider since you don't want to buy something that's going to lose support anytime soon. So in terms of speed and performance, some devices do tend to slow down, especially since the hardware usually can't keep up with software, but that hasn't been the case here. Even with watchOS 6, the Series 3 hasn't given me any issues. There's usually the minor hiccup here and there, but it's nothing that becomes a huge annoyance. Another thing to note though is that battery life is still great with the Series 3. I'm still seeing around 2 days of battery life on a single charge, even on watchOS 6. Now overall the watch is snappy and can still perform after a few years. The watch does come with the dual-core S3 processor and Apple's W2 chip, so receiving calls, making them, shooting text messages are no problem for this thing. Just note that the speakers aren't too loud but are usable when making phone calls. Now I tested them in loud environments and had a bit of trouble being able to hear at times, and also although it comes with Bluetooth 4.2 as opposed to the newer 5.0, I didn't have any dropped connectivity or any issues being able to pair to my iPhone 11 Pro Max. Now if we look at the design, it's not entirely outdated. We have a more boxier design, but it still manages to look great considering that the S4 and 5 has sleeker designs. Now we also still have a variety of color options and finishes available, and the fact that bands and accessories are still supported is a plus. Now the display is covered with an Ion X glass, which should withstand a minor beating, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't be careful with it. A screen protector is always a nice thing to have with these things. Now I've also been using the watch in and outdoors and haven't had any issues with visibility. So as far as the display goes, it gets quite bright at 1000 nits peak, and it being an OLED is it also an added benefit. So in terms of features, you're going to be losing out on the Series 5's always on display, but we still have water resistance here up to 50 meters. Now I've gone for a few dips, spilled some water on it, and haven't had any issues. It comes out working just as good. I mean, besides some of the new watch faces and some features, you're really not losing out on much, especially for the price. And of course the Series 4 and 5 are great, and they do get some of the better software, but you are gonna have to pay up for those things. The always on display on the Series 5 is great, but honestly a simple wrist flip does the job with the Series 3. So if you can live without the fall and loud noise detection, then you're pretty much solid. So does 2020 still have room for the Series 3? Honestly, I truly believe that it's a great option that you should consider if you're really not worried about having the latest and greatest. Apple does a great job of continuing support on their older devices. For example, the Series 1 and 2 got an update for watchOS 6, so if you have an iPhone and are considering getting a smartwatch, this should definitely be an option. I don't think you can go wrong here for the price. Anyways, that's been it guys. If you enjoyed, make sure you hit that like button as well as subscribe, and we'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.